What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope you're all doing very well, having a good Thursday, recovering from the disappointment of Tuesday. A little bit of insider knowledge here. Once we were getting ready, set up here, Faz was first in. I said, Faz, how you doing after Tuesday? And he went, no. He almost looked frustrated that I brought it up in the first place. But don't worry, guys. We've got plenty to get into this evening. Obviously, it's always busy in the world of Manchester United, right? There's always news, there's always stories, there's always anything to get into. But tonight, there legitimately is a lot to get into. So join this evening by DJ and Faz. Thanks for joining me, guys. Let's get into first the managerial developments. Get into the latest developments, talking about the search for the new Manchester United permanent manager. He's gone already.
He's gone. He pulled a me.
He's pulled a DJ.
He's pulled a DJ.
I've got back on this one. Faz is... it wouldn't be United View without an intro like this. It wouldn't be United View intro about this. It's already we're in chaos. We'll get into it. Faz can join in a second when he's ready. Let's get into the latest developments when it comes to a new permanent manager at Manchester United. We can hear you.
I can't hear you guys for some reason.
You can't hear us.
We can hear that.
We can hear that.
Oh, yeah. You can hear me, but I don't know.
Yeah. He said it's because his sound's off. I can read his lips. He said my sound's off.
Faz is having a mare.
Well, now we can't hear you, Faz. Now we can't hear you.
Yeah, because I was on mute. Oh God!
There we go.
I tell you what, it's in terms of intros, this is top notch. We are yet to beat this. I think this is right up there. I think it's fantastic.
This sums up, doesn't it? This sums up United. This sums up. We wanted to.
I love the way
we had a little bit of a meeting. We had a little bit of a meeting beforehand, guys. This has all been pre-planned. We said, look, how can we get across chaos? And Faz went, I've got an idea. Okay. And that's what we got to. We'll get into the chaos at Manchester United. We actually will. But we'll get into the latest developments when it comes to a new permanent manager at Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, because there's been a lot of discussion and reports about Ten Hag today. Samuel Lucas of the Manchester Evening News has said that Erik ten Hag is Manchester United's preferred option to become their next manager. As it stands, Ten Hag is Man United's prime choice to take over in the summer, but the club has not made the final decision as it continues with its process. Despite Ten Hag being Manchester United's number one choice, Mauricio Pochettino remains under serious consideration, and the club have refused to rule out an approach for Thomas Tuchel amid uncertainty at Chelsea. Ten Hag and Pochettino remain the front runners for the job, and negotiations with either coach would be smoother after PSG and Ajax were both ejected. I love that word. Ejected from the Champions League. Like someone pressed a button and they went, see you later. Manchester United are reportedly impressed by how Ten Hag has assembled two successful teams either side of the sales of De Ligt and De Jong in 2019. Ten Hag's potential for longevity also appeals as he joined Ajax in December 2017. It's also been reported that he would command a relatively low compensation fee in comparison to other rivals. So I'll start with you, DJ, because DJ came in before we went live and he said, I've been doing my research, Owen. And I said, I like that, DJ. I like the research. Now, you have in the past been a big proponent of Ten Hag. And when I asked why, you said, I don't know. I just am. So what have you researched and how are you feeling about him being the front runner?
So, yeah, as you said, I was the part of the Ten Hag fan club. You asked me why. I said, I don't know. I think it was because, that recency bias. However, I have seen his Ajax team play and they're very good on the eye. They passed the eye test for me. Really entertaining football. And you can tell that there's a clear philosophy there and structure. When I really sat back, Owen, and I relaxed a bit and, I saw these reports of Ten Hag coming out because it's slowly looking like, he's taken the lead with all these reports. I thought, let me just really have an in-depth look at his record as a manager. And, one of the things that I was opposed to in terms of Pochettino was because he's known as the bottler. He's known as the guy that he's the nearly man. He nearly gets to somewhere, but then bottles it in the end. And, I just thought that was the narrative around Pochettino. And I was someone that jumped on the bandwagon. Now, leading on to Ten Hag, when I sat back and I did a little bit of research, I'm going to break down his Champions League record really quickly. So he lost in the semi-final, as we know, against Spurs. Now, Ajax are winning a 2-0 lead, and he lost that game, right? In the group stages, he failed to beat Lampard's Chelsea, and we know how crap of a manager Lampard is, right? Failed to beat Chelsea, and then was knocked out by Getafe in the Europa League as well. Knocked out by Roma in the group stages after that, and in the round 16, knocked out by Benfica after bottling again a 2-0 lead. So if we wanted to paint Pochettino with the bottling narrative, the same can clearly be said for Ten Hag, and that is someone who wanted Ten Hag in the hot seat at Manchester United, and I think they're similar in age. They have similar profile in these cup competitions. And, you know, it's literally just a split down the middle. Who do we go for? I think the only reason why United maybe go in the Ten Hag route now is because of that low compensation fee. We're just watching the coffers, really. And that is my research into Ten Hag. Playing style, I like Ten Hag's playing style a bit better. I think if United adopted that, it could be the dynasty of dynasties. If it got to that level and we started winning things off that playing style, it would be great. But it is close. It's closer than it's a lot closer than what people think.
Faz, how are you feeling about Erik Ten Hag potentially being the front runner for the Manchester United job if these reports are to be believed?
It sounds like I'm here. It sounds like Manchester United have become top 5, top 6 team now. Top of the top, they don't go for mid-table managers. They don't go for managers that we've not heard before. They don't go for managers that aren't proven. Look at Chelsea. Look at Man City. Why are we going for a manager that hasn't really established his career in the top flight football at the current moment? He hasn't. He has some sort of playing style that apparently is suited for Manchester United. But then, is he really ready for the pressure that comes with it? Also, to add to that, Tottenham had conversations with him. Tottenham actually found him a bit absurd because when Tottenham spoke to him, he apparently didn't want to bring any staff members with him. In typical English football, you bring staff members with you. You have like a whole coaching staff. Conte did that at Chelsea. Conte had an issue because he couldn't bring enough people with him.
Right.
Ten Hag apparently wants to come along. So Michael Carrick can continue setting up the cones in training. Our set piece coach could continue to tell Harry Maguire how to try and score in set pieces. No. That's not what we need. We need a whole clear up, especially if we're going to keep some of those or majority of the players that we have. We need the whole management system gone. That's exactly why I want Ralph to stay a full season, and for these idiots who are sat on the top of the food chain to actually make their minds up a bit, because we are going for a manager who's absolutely not proven. The only thing he's won is that cup that I can't even pronounce, and what's it called? The cups that I can't even pronounce.
Well, Eredivisie in Holland.
And the other Johan something other cup. Do you know what I mean? He played Division 2. It doesn't make sense. Yes, Mourinho is one of those managers who isn't a proven player, who tried with little team and he made his name like that. But Ten Hag ain't got nothing. Manchester United is a big deal, is a big job. We're talking about knocking the stadium down, rebuilding the whole thing from ground up. Is he ready for that pressure? Is he ready for 75,000 people week in, week out, hounding the littlest mistake he makes? Even if it's not his mistake, will come at him. Is he ready for that? I personally don't think so. It takes big cojones to come to Manchester United, and he is not the man. We should be going for Tuchel. We should be going for Enrique. We should be going for Ancelotti. We should not be going for Ten Hag.
Are any of those realistic, though, Faz, when you say that? Are any of those an actual possibility? Tuchel, I was going to talk about Tuchel later on, but Tuchel, that's under the assumption that this collapse at Chelsea continues. They might get sold and then he's sticking around. If it's Enrique, there's a World Cup at the end of the year. So that's difficult. If it's Ancelotti, they just beat PSG. They seem relatively happy with him, and he's probably going to win the league in La Liga. Is it even feasible that United can go after them? Or are we in this situation where maybe we're having to take a risk on someone? And I agree with you, is unproven, certainly at a top level. But is that realistically where Manchester United are right now?
We are Manchester United, not Everton, not Crystal Palace. We go for who we want. We get who we need. We open the checkbook and we get who we need. There's no realistic or unrealistic when it comes to Manchester United. It's possible. Simple as. If we need that person, we get that person. That's how we should be approaching this. Why are we going? It's almost like we're trying.
But does it work like that? Does it work like that though?
Well, it feels like we're trying to like Ten Hag. Don't you feel like it?
Do you know what? Do you know what I think, Faz? Though, sorry to cut in. Do you know what I think? I think, you know, and that's because I'm guessing that you've seen, you know, the glory days of United, and as United fans back in the day, we felt entitled, like, yeah, we're going to win everything, and we're Manchester United, and we used to strut our stuff around in our personal lives because we're Man United fans, and it was the greatest thing ever. But I just think times have changed. When we're not those guys anymore. We're a spent force, so sometimes we're not going to have a pot to piss in. Literally, we're not. And, you know, if you're saying a complete rebuild in terms of, you know, mentioning the stadium stuff and mentioning this team, let's rip it up. To be honest, there is some big names in that team. Whether they've been playing well or not, there is still massive names in that team. And if we're all talking about, and literally loads of United, I can't speak for every United fan, but a lot that I've spoken to, they're happy with literally ripping up this first 11 and literally starting from the ground up. If that's the case, why not do that with a manager? Because we have used proven managers in the past and they still haven't been able to get a song out of this team. However, Mourinho, I put a post up today, Mourinho did win things and he did kind of, you know, foreshadow a lot of the issues that are playing out to this very day with Manchester United. So maybe it's time we try something else. We tried unproven Oli, who didn't really have anything. I think Ten Hag's got way more accomplishments than Oli ever had. Easy on the eye, developing young players. He's developed multiple Ajax teams, which have been good. Maybe Man United is the next step. And you asked a very, very valid question here. Can he handle the pressure? I guess if he does get the job, we'll have to see.
What I will say, right? Look, any manager, I said this before the live, any manager comes in, he must be a man of faith. With a lot of pressure. And look, any manager comes in that seat, it's not my decision, it's not your decision, DJ, it's not Owen's, it's the board's. Whoever comes in, I'm going to back him, I'm going to try and support him. But just let this sink in. Who is this man going to work with? Arnold? He's going to work with John?
Isn't that the importance of Rangnick, though? Isn't that the importance? You said that earlier you'd rather have Rangnick down for a year, but isn't his best value almost off of the touchline as opposed to being on it? Would you feel more comfortable Ten Hag coming in, who is inexperienced, coming in under a Rangnick in a consultancy role to help guide him through that, where in the past that person wouldn't have existed?
You think these guys care when the stock prices determine who they sign, who they get, who comes? Mr. Glazer himself was said he's going to come and see the fans. Where's his private jet? He ain't come. He sent Tom Brady to come and watch a game, but he don't come. He don't come and interact with us. He doesn't. He doesn't. Look who this man is going to be working with. Ajax's whole system from head down is built like that. United's isn't. I've been saying, get the under 23s. Especially now, get the under 23s. Is Manchester United going to do that? Are they going to give the under 23s that experience? I'm going tomorrow to see the under 23s and see how well they've been performing. Are they going to do it? They won't. Eric Ten Hag, I feel sorry for him if he comes here, because what if him and Ralph actually find out that this is a monster behind closed doors and they don't listen to the players that they want? The board don't listen to the players that we need. Instead, they go for these big players that they think are so-called, shirt sellers. Do you really think, Owen, you tell me, do you really think Ralph will have that pull on the board to make decisions when it comes to transfers?
Well, we don't know. I mean, if historically, no, obviously, but we don't. But this is, by all in fairness to someone like Richard Arnold, this is a different chief executive. Under Ed Woodward, I'd have said no way. It was been proven that he felt that he knew the best. He was the head decision on everything, right? He was the one coming into change room saying to Rio Ferdinand last day of the season, "Oh, by the way, mate, we're not extending your contract." He's the one that's doing interviews going, "We've got a blank check," and then getting worried well, we're struggling with negotiations. They're asking for higher price. Well, if you go out there saying you got a blank check, that's going to happen, isn't it? Unfortunately, Richard Arnold, we don't know. We don't know. He obviously is a disciple of Glazer. He's a disciple of Woodward. So chances are, expect more of the same. If anyone of any kind of football intelligence was in there, whether it is him, John Murtough, Darren Fletcher, who's getting booked on the touchline, they would say, you know what, we need to have Ralph Rangnick around, because whatever we're doing at the moment, you can't have this structure in place at the moment going, oh, what we're doing is working. Because it's not. There's evidence is there that it's not working. Whether or not they'd give Ralph that opportunity to, offer his opinion, look, he's there. He's a consultant for a reason. As you always say, Faz, it's their decision whether they take his opinion or not. If they don't, it's just another loss leader when it comes to finances, right?
And then
because he's going to get paid.
And then we hold our heads, said, "Oh snap! Who's the next manager that we get in?"
The thing is, though, I think maybe Richard Arnold's trying to do something a little different. If he's been under Ed Woodward for that long, he knows the failings that Ed Woodward has done. He knows kind of how United have kind of like crumpled over the last few years. So I'm guessing that he's willing to try something new, i.e. that's why they've negotiated with Rangnick to have that consultancy role. That wouldn't have happened under Woodward, in my opinion. And it hasn't, as we know. We've never brought in anybody of a football in mind to be in the back. And now, obviously, there's this deal with Rangnick towards the end of the season. Maybe that is them actually now starting to, maybe dot the I's and cross the T's properly. Who knows? Hopefully. All we have is hope. Hopefully. And I am very happy that Ralph's going to get that, because we need someone, at least with a football brain behind it. We need someone. We've got the marketing sorted. We've got all of that stuff sorted. The business side of it sorted. We just need the footballing brain. And I think Rangnick's been there for a little while now. He can see what's going on. He's kind of, in code, spoke about certain other positions, i.e. feelings, i.e. Darren Fletcher's. That stuff is definitely going to have to change some way, somehow. And if Ten Hag does come in, maybe they can kind of recreate the Ajax, maybe not with the same quality, but they can recreate kind of what Ajax are doing with Rangnick close to Ten Hag when he comes in.
Scott Kelter says, what has Klopp done? What did Klopp do before the Premier League? Well, in fairness, Scott, he did win the Bundesliga, I think, back-to-back with Borussia Dortmund, which is Bayern win that league. And that's impressive. Champions League final with Dortmund as well. I think this last season didn't end particularly well, but I think he even got to like the German Cup final that year, even in his last year as well. So I think the idea that Klopp hadn't done anything before he came into Liverpool is not necessarily true, because he did quite significantly rebuild Borussia Dortmund. When we're talking about Ajax, then we're talking about Ten Hag. Again, DJ, you touched on this earlier. Do we need to have that conversation about him when we're talking about whether or not he's the right person to come in? Again, the stick that's thrown at Pochettino is that, he's a bottler, right? He's bottled the big occasions, whether it's Champions League finals, or he came third in a 2-horse race for the Premier League when Leicester won it and all that kind of stuff. But we are looking at an Ajax side that went out to Benfica in the week in a second leg. Coming into it, it was 2-2. But they were at home. They were expected to win, and they didn't. I just want to, before you answer, I got the stats for that game as well, because I think it's fascinating. So Ajax had 16 shots, only 2 on target. Benfica had 4 shots of only 1 on target. Ajax had 69% possession. Benfica only had 31. So this is a game, obviously, that Ajax dominated, but ultimately they didn't get done. Is that a concern coming into Manchester United? I think
it can be a concern. It depends how you look at it, and it depends if that's a trend with Ajax. And I'm not trying to compare Ajax to United, but, in the last few games that United have had, we've dominated games, made loads of chances, but just haven't put the ball in the back of the net. And it becomes an issue when you see pattern and habit. I'm not sure if that's an Ajax habit at the moment, or it's just a one-off game. So I'd have to kind of look at the data if that represents that. But I think discussing whether he's the right man is a valid conversation, especially when, he is he's going to be very unproven in this Premier League. This Premier League is vicious, man. And especially if he's coming in up against, Klopp and Guardiola, it's a big ask. But I do think that he is a manager who is on the ascendancy, it seems, narratively anyway, on the ascendancy. And if you kind of look at some of the X factors, is that his playing style is very, very attractive, works well with young players, even young players that, maybe under the radar, and then they start playing in his team, and then other teams would want to come in and buy them. He's had to recreate teams as well, because his best players have been taken to other clubs. So for me, that little bit of foundation and those skill set that he has, I think United could definitely need right now. in terms of blood in the young talent. Who knows? Like Faz wants to see under 23s. Ten Hag could come in and say, you know what? There's about 3 players in the under 23s I want to integrate into the first team. Who knows? It might be a long shot, but if it's to go by anything, Ranić and him together, they both have unearthed gems, especially Ranić. So, the conversation is a very valid conversation.
Josh Weirin says, we need structure. Ralph is director of football. Paul Mitchell is sporting director. Fletcher learning from them both. Poch or Ten Hag would flourish with the structure. Speaking of Poch, Faz, can we rule him out, or is he still in the conversation? Reportedly, he's still in that conversation. Do you think PSG's exit from the Champions League has hurt his chances, or do you think it's almost irrelevant considering that's just what PSG do, I guess?
This man has a team that's overall 99.9. Every player is 99, and he still couldn't, And also, let's be real. Let's not take anything away from Ancelotti and Real Madrid at all. They did a fantastic job. They pulled out a magic trick to beat PSG, because PSG, in essence, they actually did the job. Really and truly, they did what they were supposed to do, right? But let's not take anything away from Real Madrid. I think just defensively, Poch just couldn't handle it. In all fairness, he couldn't handle it. His team crumbled. Just as they conceded 1 goal, 2 goal, his team just crumbled, and that is. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. With players like that, if that is not a red flag, I don't know what is. Who else are you going to blame? What else is there to blame? The man went through with how many goals, and Real Madrid still beat them. I don't have faith in him. I don't have faith in him. He did things with Tottenham, fair enough, but I mean, where's the silverware? I want silverware. Where's the silverware for him to prove? I want silverware. No, I'm not accepting it. I'm not accepting these middle team managers. I'm not. I want proven silverware category managers. Ten Hag, I'll accept him with open arms if they clear out the whole backroom staff. Get rid of the lot. If you want to keep the players, because that's where the majority of the asset is, keep him. Fair enough. Because really and truly, there are a bunch of good players in there that just need probably tweaking, that need adjusting. Maybe 3 or 4 need to go. Rest of them, maybe Ten Hag can bring out the best. I mean, Vidic wasn't a great defender when he came to United, but he trained, and he improved, right? Maybe he might pull out a miracle and bring something out of this 80 million so-called defender, star defender. He might. We don't know. But Poch come in, I don't know. I really don't think with that team, what he was given, and the funds behind him and the backing behind him, if he can't manage that to go into the Champions League, I have no faith in him. How will I?
But is the argument with that one? This is always the argument with the PSG one, is that other coaches have also failed in that situation too, right? And it's not the first time that PSG have collapsed in the Champions League. They've collapsed under Unai Emery. They've collapsed under Thomas Tuchel. They've collapsed now under Pochettino. You saw the crowd at the game at the weekend. They were booing every time Neymar and Messi touched the ball, and they were leaving the stadium and all that kind of stuff. Is any coach of PSG a fair reflection on their actual ability, or is that just that whole situation a poison chalice?
Sure, I agree with you, but Unai Emery also just beat Juventus. Thomas Tuchel also won the Champions League and is doing well in Chelsea. Mr. Poch, you tell me.
Champions League final with Spurs, and that season he beat Man City, who that season won the league, 100 points over 2 legs.
What do you expect him to do? Okay, you expect him to come, and then who is he going to improve? Because Flex was telling me this. Poch, he took Harry Kane to a new level. He took Dele Alli to a new level. He took all these players to a new level, right? You think he does that in United?
Could do. I think he could do. I think there's enough. I think there is enough with some of these players that I think some of these players want a cultural reboot. I think they want a new manager as much as we do. I think a fresh start is always good. A fresh start is for everyone to have a fresh start and show a new manager what they can do, and it boosts morale and all of that good stuff. My concern is not, and obviously my concern is whether it will be Ten Hag, Pochettino, whoever else comes through the door, because I do think there may be some left field candidates that we haven't even really looked at. But I just think that
Lopetegui.
Exactly. Yeah, I think one of the things is the board going to sufficiently back this new manager? Because that's my burning question. I'm not gonna lie, Pochettino, Ten Hag is a bit of like it's kind of like a bit of a toss of a coin for me. I don't mind which one we get. I just think, is the board gonna do their job? Because it's all well getting a Poch, it's all well getting a Ten Hag. But are the board gonna, do their job and back this manager with the funds and scouting networks and etc.? That's what I'm really focused on, because if they don't, it doesn't really matter what manager you get through the door.
Also, let's not forget Ten Hag and Ralph's relationship works better. Ralph has been a great fan of him. If Ralph's going to stay for the next few years, maybe even extend and stay a good few years in this club, it's likely his relationship flourishes with Ten Hag more than Poch. So that's something to consider as well. Yeah. Poch comes in. Sure, Poch is a better manager than Ten Hag. Fair enough. But, it has to be a sync and connection going upwards as well. Just as much as it's important to go downwards into the players, the relationship has to be intact going upwards as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Let's talk about Marcus Rashford. Of course, yesterday was a huge Marcus Rashford story going on yesterday. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I think everyone has seen it. But if you haven't, there was a situation that emerged on social media yesterday in which after the game on Tuesday against Atletico Madrid, the players were leaving Old Trafford, going to, I think, the coaches or whatever. And there's usually a fan. I don't know how many people, but there's always a group of people waiting for autographs, pictures with the players, chats with the players. It's how you see, like, when Ralph or Ollie used to sign all the stuff for the people after the game. The fans are waiting there and the players are coming out. And there's a clip on social media that I think maybe is all of 20 seconds, maybe, would you say, if that? And essentially and you don't see all of it. You don't see the entire thing, but you see 20 seconds of Rashford walking past. And essentially what the person shouts to him is, after that performance, Marcus, or come on, Marcus, essentially sort of saying, after that performance, you can't come over here and sign autographs and take pictures of us. Marcus Rashford reacts. It's difficult, in fairness, to hear what he says. You can hear him say, like, say it to my face, or come meet me around the back, or something like that. There have been other things that he's alleged to have said, but in my opinion, and that's just my opinion, I think it's difficult to hear him say any of that. It was also said that he put his middle finger up. Rashford denied that, said it was his index finger. Rashford released a statement saying that he had been receiving abuse in the stands and has been receiving abuse on social media and all that kind of stuff. So that was the situation. I'll start with you, Faz, because you had some quite strong words to say about Marcus Rashford after the game in your fan viewer flex after the Atletico game. From our conversations off the air, right, in the group chat, you have strong feelings about the situation. How did you see the Rashford issue? And 24 hours removed, how do you feel about it now?
I was speaking to my friend this morning who rang me. My friend is a police officer. Police officers go through a lot considering how much they get paid. Marcus Rashford, you broke and you're getting paid 200 a week, 10.4 a year, and you crumbled. This is what, this is what you signed up to. This is your life. And yes, you're a footballer. Yes, you're a human, but the fans make the club. End of discussion. End of discussion. Every single fan who travels to see that team, they are the blood, sweat, tears, soul, body, hair, everything of that club. You cannot disrespect the fans. Yes, if the fans are in the wrong, totally agree, it's not acceptable. But you just have to put your noise cancellation earphones and keep it moving. That's just what you're supposed to do. That's really what you're supposed to do. He's in a rut. He's not playing well, whatever. How old is he? 24, going into 25 soon?
Yeah, 25, 26, something like that, I think.
Yeah, he's 24, going into 25 soon. I think in October or something. Martial's 26 years old. We sent him on loan. Why don't we send this kid on loan? Has anybody questioned that? If he's in such a deep rut, if the fans are really pissed off with him, why actually don't we send him on loan and get someone else to take his position for the time being? It's a genuine question, no?
At the end of the season, obviously, because you can't do that now.
No, of course, but we should have done that when we did that with Martial. We might as well have kept Martial and sent him on loan. I've noticed this with English player situation. I'm just going to speak out my mind. I've noticed this with English player situation. We've kept him. He didn't even get picked in the England squad because Gareth is no stupid guy. Gareth is no stupid guy. He sees through this.
But in fairness, with the Martial situation, and I understand your point there, but did Martial just do an interview saying that he went to Ralph and said, "I want to leave. I don't care. I want to leave."
Point.
Has
Good point.
Marcus said that? Has Marcus gone to Ralph and said, "Let me go in January"?
Good
I don't
point.
think he did.
I was going to come on to this. Good point. What did Marcus say? I need minutes for my career. Like I said in my fan cam, his career is going to shit. He's 24 years old. 2 more years, he's reaching his peak. If he doesn't start performing, the star boy Rashford that he is from Manchester, it's a flop story. It's an absolute flop story, considering the contract that he's been given. And apparently so, I read it again. I don't know how true it is, but he's been answering phone calls from other clubs. Apparently so. He's been answering phone calls from another club. If you really care about Manchester United, take a salary cut. Go on loan. Do something. Maybe don't take a salary cut. Maybe ask Ralph, send me on loan end of the season. Send me on a 1-year loan and let me get my form. Let me get on top shape again. And let me get to scoring again. And then I'll come back. And then I'll come back and I'll commit to you guys. I'll commit.
But how could he say that at the moment when we don't know who the manager's going to be at the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
You say to it's you. It's your performance. Whoever comes in, if you really care, you're going to perform under any manager. You're going to listen to any manager because you care for the club. Do you understand what I'm saying? You care to play for the club. Whoever comes in at the end of the season, by the end of the season, if this continues, now we don't have anything to play for. So we might as well give him all the minutes that he needs. Give him 90 minutes a game because we got nothing to play for. Arsenal got Chelsea and Tottenham. That's it. 2 games in hand. We got nothing to play for. Give him all the minutes. Let's see if he actually comes out of this dark hole that he is. If he doesn't, why are we not questioning him being sent on loan end of the season? Why not? And how can you crumble? I don't understand. When you got marble floors that are heated, if you're actually, if respectfully, if he's got something on his mind that's holding him down, family issues, best friend, girlfriend, whatever, call in sick. Don't play. Go get right first. This is serious. I'm saying go get right first. It's not a joke. But don't give us bad performance. Don't give us half-assed performance.
Do we sometimes forget though with these players, right? And I understand and I do genuinely, and I'm not just saying this, I do see it from both sides. I'm a fan myself. I watched Rashford play against Atletico Madrid. I've watched him play recently. Miles off. I was first to criticize when the stuff came out after the City game, when he was like, you know what, maybe I need to leave for the betterment of my career. I didn't play the Manchester derby and I'm getting dropped with the England squad. And that's like, that's not on Manchester United. That's not on the coach. That's on yourself, right? And I'm with you on that one. And if he's of the mindset of, I need to leave, the reason I'm not playing for England is because I'm not getting played. It's like, no, you're not getting played because you're not playing well. But do we also have to realize that in everything that he has been through as well over the last 12 months, because I look at it as a thing that's built up over time, right? He's been through a lot over the last 12 months. Is this just a case of, pressure boiling over? Is this just a case of, when you're that distance away from each other and you say stuff like that, a player's not allowed then to react? Is that the precedent that we've set? Because these are people at the end of the day. DJ, what do you think about it?
Yeah, so I saw the Rashford thing and I'm not going to lie. Like, I just thought even his reaction and the coverage around it, I just kind of thought, so what? Like, because as you said, he's been through a lot over 12 months. There are a lot of fans that say maybe he doesn't really care about Manchester United. I just think we're dealing with a young man that is confused. He's thinking, you know what? Like, I used to get in this team. I literally used to get in this team just like that. He has played, I'll be honest with you, he has played awful, like to the point where my brother, he's not a Rashford fan at all. He'd be screaming at the TV, he's rubbish, get him out. And it's kind of sad to see the decline that he's had over the last sort of like 12 months. But with that being said, I don't think no human being deserves to be abused, whether that's online or verbally to their face. There is a sort of like this thing of, you're a Man United player, you're professional, you must be a professional at all times. But I gave him a bit of a pass only because of I know what he's been through the last 12 months. This man does great things outside of football. He gets sort of criticised for it. To his face, he gets his mural vandalised because he misses a penalty. Do you know what I mean? He's probably had this every single day when he's out in public.
That was my point. That it's not just
it's
one
a
night
build-up,
thing. It's
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it's a build-up. And I just say to any fan that wants to give a player critique, that's fine. But the minute you abuse a player and he turns around and he doesn't have it from you and he bites back, don't then start doing the white flag. Oh, I can't believe Rashford spoke to me like that.
Well, it must be said also, in fairness to the person in the video, is it from what it appears like he wasn't being, and this is what some people said, well, he wasn't being abusive. He was just saying, come on, Rashford, after that performance. But also my point is, and again, and I don't want to question people's fandom of the club, because everyone's allowed to support the club however they want to support it, whether they're match-going fans, whether they're fans from around the world, whether they're just a fan that watches it on TV every week, right? Everyone's allowed to support it their own way. But I don't really understand the thought process of, and Faz, maybe you can jump in on this one, but I don't understand the thought process of, well, I'm standing here outside the ground, and because you play badly, you have to come over and sign autographs and take a picture with me. And because you've played badly, I'm going to call you out because you haven't come over. Again, that's not how I would approach things. And I heard what Flex was saying earlier, and I agree with what he was saying, that it's one thing, like when the match is going on and you're in the stand and you're going, oh, Marcus, you're playing shit, all that kind of stuff. But when they're outside the ground and they're going home, essentially, to say, like, come on, Rashford, after that performance, that makes me feel very uncomfortable, like piling on a player that's clearly struggling. I mean, what do you think, Faz, about that?
Did he sign some shirts, or was it because I think a fan said, how could you sign shirts with a performance like that?
I think it was more, how can you walk past us? Not because he was quite far away. You walking to the coach.
Look, to a young 10-year-old, 15, 12-year-old, that shirt signing means the world. Those kids don't really care even about your performance. They'll buy match attacks of you and whatnot, and they'll idolize you. So really and truly, you should be going over and giving at least a couple of minutes. Like I said, noise cancellation headphones. Go and sign as many as you can and keep it moving. Keep it moving. It literally is part of your job. And I'll go back to my friend's example, who's a police officer who doesn't even get paid 1% of Rashford's wage. And imagine what they go through.
But I hear what you're saying.
Does money have anything to do with that?
No, but it's part of it. Comes with the job. Do you know how many footballers? LeBron James is the highest abused person online. Apparently, I looked at the stat. It's 10 times more than Rashford. 10 times. The big dogs, they come above it. They prove it on the field, and after they score, they go like this. And then fans who do abuse, who may throw things, who go and mess up his memorial, whatever, they'll shut up. But you prove it on the pitch. That's how.
Will they shut up though? Isn't that the point? Is that they don't?
Nah.
And you do it again and again and again. You don't miss penalties. You score hat tricks. You win trophies. You do things. You become player of the month. That's how you shut them up, or that's how you quiet the noise. But you must, Owen, you must do it on the pitch, because that's what you're getting paid for, really and truly. Why do we accept in English football, we get soft on certain things? Go and look at some other sports, how strict they are with the players. And English footballers get away with so much. It's not.
But in my opinion, if that was Pogba or Martial and the fan had said the same thing and they'd reacted the same as Rashford, my opinion on it, and maybe this is just myself, my opinion would not differ at all. I would still be like, because this was my thought as well, is that first of all, this isn't the first time in football we've seen this happen. We've seen it happen with a Man United player. I think a good example is Wayne Rooney, 2010 World Cup. Yeah. Algeria, 0-0. Fans are booing him. England fans are booing him. Turns right to the camera and says, that's what you like to see. Your own fans booing you. And people got the same. People got upset and frustrated. And I think probably Rooney, in the same vein as Rashford, probably regrets it and goes, you know what? I should have just walked past, because it's become a thing. But is it... If Rashford's form does pick up, is this something that is quickly forgotten, though, as well? Is that something worth considering too?
I don't think at this point. I think, if there was stuff to play for, and then his performances improved and he scored goals, you know what football's like. Someone's view of you in football can change over literally a match. So maybe, but I think now, because there's nothing really to play for at the moment. There's no major honours. If he does come back,
period of time without a game now as well.
Right. So I think if I was him, the best thing for him would be to go on a sabbatical. Literally just go and get your mental right. Kind of what Faz was saying. Go get your mental right. I do think he deserves a bit of space, because out of a lot of the United players, he is someone that has sort of been through a lot. He doesn't need time away from the game. I think he was trying to play through it and trying to play himself into form, which we saw Sancho actually do. Sancho played himself into form. But I just don't think Rashford at the moment's got the sauce, as I like to say. I just don't think he has it at the moment. He's not a terrible player. He's a good player on his day. He just needs some time away from the game because I think football at the moment is a little heavy for him, especially emotionally. And one thing I'll just end on my Rashford note is just that, I reckon he is his own worst critic. So when you're critiquing yourself and you played shit, because he knows he played shit. It's not a rocket scientist to know you played shit. And then on top of that, you're getting abused online. You're getting probably people in his local area, the stuff that we don't see, the stuff probably that's happening that we don't see. And it's probably just a build-up of all this emotion. And he is young, he is young. So his age, he's going to act out. And he won't be the last player, whether it's Man United or a player in general, to act that way.
A-Bub says, wasn't it Fergie who scolded players for not signing shirts after a loss? He needs to come off social media. I think a lot of people have said that maybe you need to take a step back from social media, which I think is probably fair. Ronaldo says, well, I did what I can do for you lot. It was fun at Man United. Ronaldo back in the chat. Marcel, the contribution. Big up, Marcel. We need your positivity, man. We need your positivity. To round it up on Rashford then, so obviously there's been a lot about him in recent weeks about his future. Is he going to possibly leave Manchester United? It was reported by Samuel Lucas today that said, despite the development of interest of other clubs, it's understood deep down Rashford does not want to leave Manchester United, and the move could spur the club into opening discussions over a new long-term contract. Then also reports that apparently Barcelona have expressed their interest in signing Rashford amid his uncertainty over his role at Manchester United. A source close to Rashford says the phone hasn't stopped ringing since it emerged he was considering his future, which was the thing that Faz was mentioning earlier. To me, and I'll throw it to you, Faz, in a second, to me, that sounds like just agent talk.
Yeah.
And that does sound like someone that is jockeying for a new contract, right?
The phone hasn't stopped ringing.
I tell you what, I'm thinking about leaving and my phone hasn't stopped ringing. Barcelona. Ultimately, Faz, do you think he's going to leave Manchester United, or is this going to end in a new long-term deal? Everything's hunky-dory, head down at Manchester United.
I don't care who your name is, what your number is. If you're not performing, there's the door. As Manchester United, if you're Arnold or a person in charge, that's how you should be thinking. You can't shake me with saying phones are ringing. Do you think I really care who's calling you? You performing, there's a contract, there's the money. Let's go. You're not performing, your phone could go answer who's ever called you want. Couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. Your contract runs out, you're gonna be on the bench, you're gonna be in the reserves. Go. I'm gonna send you on loan. Go. That's how we should be dealing with this type of situation. We shouldn't be getting, oh my God, people are ringing him. If he really wants to stay, like I said, if he really wants to stay, go and ask the board, send me on loan end of the season. I'll stay at United. I'll sign a 4 or 5 year extension, 3-year extension, whatever it is, but send me on loan. I wanna go get better. I want to go and get some minutes. I want to get on the scoring sheet, and I'll come back when I'm performing at the highest level. That's what a proper person who loves Manchester United would do, in my opinion.
I would agree. I think the best leverage of anyone is good form. That's the best leverage in contract negotiations, isn't it? I mean, DJ, what kind of reception do you think he gets when he's in Old Trafford next time? I mean, the next home game, or the next game, is at home against Leicester. It's like 2.5 weeks, 2nd of April. Who knows what his situation is going to be in terms of if he's even going to be in the squad. It might be upon Ralph to say, you know what, actually, we'll take him out of the squad for a little bit. We don't know what's going to happen over the next few weeks. But what kind of reception do you think he gets at Old Trafford?
He'll get booed a little bit. I think it's going to be very. I think it'll be very divisive. Like, I think you're going to get some fans that will boo him because that's just their MO. There are fans that don't like Marcus Rashford, not personally, but just because of his football ability. But then there are some that love Marcus Rashford, local lad, good player on his day. So I think it'll be a mixed reception. He either has two options. He either has the option to sort of just don't put me in the squad, let it die down a little bit, or if he's going to be, and I'm not trying to, test his ego. If he's going to be a man about it and say, no, actually, I want to start that game, or I want to be on the bench, I want to be involved in some way, in some shape or form, or whatever. I want to go out there and see what I can do. I want to go and show the fans what I can do. And to be honest, Marcus Rashford, he possibly could do it. He could probably come on and score a decent goal. And then it will be the celebrations of that or that. As Faz said, it's true. I could see it happening, but it's whether it's how the manager's gonna kind of use the situation for Rashford. Depends.
Ronaldo's back, says, I've played as a legend for years and Marcus is not it. let's wrap up talking about the England squad. The England squad was announced today for the upcoming games against Switzerland and Ivory Coast. Now, these were some really surprising inclusions and omissions. Now, we just spoke about Rashford. Obviously, Rashford was not in the squad. That had been rumored a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Was not a massive surprise that Rashford wasn't going to be in there. So that was what that was. Gareth Southgate said, quote, "It's a difficult time for him. He's clearly not at his best, but we know a lot about Marcus and hopefully he can rediscover the form we know he's capable of." So I don't even think that's really worth talking about because we knew he wasn't going to be in the England squad. The biggest surprise, well, there's a couple of them when it comes to Manchester United and just in general. But one of the biggest surprise is that Jadon Sancho was not in the squad, despite being arguably one of United's most consistent performers over the course of the last couple of weeks, months. And I get it, Manchester United haven't been particularly great, but Sancho's been playing well. He wasn't in the squad. Gareth Southgate said, quote, "The other attacking players in the squad are slightly ahead of him," referring to Sancho, in our feeling. Jadon, over the last few weeks, his performances have improved, but it's an area of the field we've got big competition of places for. Faz, what do you think about Sancho not being included in the England squad?
I'm unhappy. He picked Mr. Club Live over Sancho. Mr. Piss Up over Sancho. Sancho could have done with the minutes. Sancho could have done with the experience. Sancho could have. It's like perfect time for him to go and get some extra game time. You know, it would have been perfect for him. Why would you pick Jack Grealish? Why? I don't understand. This man is half the time going on nights out. It doesn't make sense why you wouldn't pick. And I understand that the level of competition is extremely high. Yes, it's true. But Raheem Sterling, as much as he's a top class player, Phil Foden, top class player, but Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho, really, like, I don't understand the science behind it. Does that make sense? I don't really understand the logic behind it. He said, "Oh, Sancho's performed well over the last few weeks. His performance has improved," but it feels like he hasn't picked Sancho maybe because of either age, maybe he's a bit too young compared to Grealish. I don't know. Maybe Grealish is a more high-profile player, considering he's at Man City, and so is Phil Foden, so is Raheem Sterling. So the connection, do you know what I mean? The relationship between them three. Maybe that's why he's picked Jack Grealish. I don't know, but it just seems absurd. You went and picked Luke Shaw, but you didn't pick Sancho. Right? Like, just let that sink in logically.
Yeah, I mean, DJ, I was messaging you before we went live, and that was the first thing you said, is that the Sancho thing is odd. What did you make of it? Is it a case of, do you just think that Southgate might have his favourites? I mean, Sancho didn't play a lot at the Euros either. He played, that was it one game, I think it was against, was it Ukraine? But yeah, he hasn't been playing that much for England. What did you think about the Sancho being left out of the squad?
Yeah, very strange for me. Just echoing kind of what Faz says. How the hell did Grealish get into that team? If you want to compare player for player, Sancho's stats are better than Grealish's this season. If you really want to go down that route, he's on paper a better player at the moment. For me, I'll tell you what it is. I think it's a bias towards obviously the top teams in the Premier League. If you look at who Southgate has actually got for those wide positions, forward positions, they're at the teams that are doing better than Manchester United. I know he's included Shaw and Maguire and stuff like that, but I think those two, because in their position at the moment, in terms of like, I don't see there being a lot of competition, i.e. for Maguire's position. Shaw is a bit up for debate, but with Sancho, I think he's just clearly gone for, these guys, their teams are doing better. Because again, if you want to compare player for player, Sancho isn't at the bottom of that list, not at all. So I think it's just a bias against those, I'd say, top teams. I'll do that in quotations.
Yeah, I think earlier on in the season, it was fair if he wasn't in the squad. But this time around, like I said, I think you do well to find a better outfield player in recent weeks for Manchester United than Jadon Sancho. I really do. So, I was surprised by that one. I was also somewhat surprised, Faz, by seeing, as you mentioned earlier, Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire being put in there. Gareth Southgate said this about Maguire being in, quotes, "I don't think it ever crossed our minds not to select Harry for the squad. He's been a key part of the starting 11 that got us a World Cup semi-final and a Euros final. There's no doubt in my mind he's one of our best centre-backs." What did you think about Maguire being in there? And what do you think about what Southgate said?
I actually start to doubt myself. I'm doubting myself. I think there's something in Mr. Maguire that I'm missing. There's something in Mings, James, the Ben White that I'm not seeing. I don't get it. Who in the right mind, after looking at all the games of Manchester United, would decide to go with Maguire? It just, there must be science behind it. We must be stupid. Really, us three
Yeah.
sat here talking about it. We must be deluded and stupid. Because like I actually really respect Gareth, but but then again, he might have picked him, let's be real. He might have picked him as a squad filler. Maybe he doesn't start. We don't know. I mean, let's just see it through. Maybe he doesn't start. Maybe Mings is or Stones. You know, we don't know yet. But maybe he's just picked him as a squad filler because of his height, his strength, whatever. But I have no idea, because Harry Maguire has no qualities in my opinion. Absolute no qualities. But it just, I don't get it. I'm starting to doubt myself.
But what's crazy about that, right? So you mentioned that as a squad filler, and my perspective on it was that when Maguire last played for England, it was when he did the whole fingers in the ear against who was Albania. That was the last time he played, I think. So he's probably thinking, oh, for England, he's in good form. He's comfortable playing for England. But even if he is a squad filler, how is Tomori from AC Milan? How is he not in that? That blows my mind that he is not in that squad, because, and I know this is Man United channel, we're going off on the beaten path here, but and it pertains to Harry Maguire, because you can't tell me that Tomori is having a worse season than Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, it's a divisive point whether he plays every week for his club, not whether or not he plays, but if he's the captain for his club as well. Tomori, on the other hand, is playing in an AC Milan side that's top of the league. They're going to win they're probably going to win the Italian title. Last season, they came second. Like, consistently, they are in the top 2 spots for the title. And people can say, oh, the Italian league isn't as good as the English league or whatever. But still, that's a top European league title. And the idea that Harry Maguire or Tyrone Mings is better than Tomori, that just absolutely blows my mind. I can't wrap my head around that one.
It's favourites.
It's favourites.
It's favourites. Yeah, it's clearly favourites. You know, people used to say that Southgate was Ollie Point 2. I'm starting to see those resemblances there. He literally is like just picking favourites. Maybe over just, you know, him knowing Harry a little bit better. Maybe just based off because Harry is the captain of Manchester United. Like, Harry Maguire has been poor, very poor. He's got massive holes in his game, and I don't know, guys, it isn't the Harry Maguire show, but it's just, when I watch him, it causes me pain. Honestly, it just causes me mental pain to watch this man try and beat a press at the back. I literally get an anxiety attack. Like, he clearly isn't as good as we all thought he was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was. And for him to always be getting picked up to the England team is worrying. It is worrying. There's better players.
But is it a case then, because the general consensus are he might play better for England, Faz? But does that speak volumes to him maybe not being suitable for the captaincy at Manchester United or playing for Manchester United, in that he can't deal with the pressure or he finds the pressure of playing for Manchester United bigger than playing for his country?
Yeah, possibly so. I mean, he always seems to do something a bit different when he plays for England than when he plays for United, right? But I agree with DJ in that there must be some sort of click situation in going on where, oh, Harry's a good lad. Yeah, go on, Harry. Yeah, the squad, you know. It's like on the playground when you pick your mate first because he's your mate. It doesn't matter, obviously. That's how it seems like. There's no, like I said, there's no science or logic behind some of the pick. Gareth has done really well with the England squad, I must say, in general over the last few years.
Do you think so? Because I think that's an interesting point. He's
given us something to look forward to. Let's be real. Even though Mr. Harry Kane, Mr. Harry Kane is not world class. Mr. Harry Kane has all this pressure on his shoulders and doesn't deliver anything. But Gareth, as a unit, as a squad, has given us something to look forward to. We actually think, like, considering the World Cup, considering the Euros, we thought, you know what, we're doing all right. You know, like, let's believe in these players. Let's believe in this manager. From the competition before that, let's believe in this manager. From the semi-final, then now to the final. So I still have faith in him because he's given me hope. But like I say, some of the picks, it just seems like a bit of a click situation. Yeah, go on. And in all honesty, it has to be that Harry Maguire is a squad filler. Has to be, because he's given the other kid a chance. His name is, what is it, Mark? and Ben White, because they're young and he thinks, it'll be good for them. It'll be a good opportunity for them to get some experience, whatever. But Harry Maguire, I mean, I don't know. There must be something that this Harry Maguire has got on these managers. Has to be. And we are not.
I'm of the perspective of Southgate, and this is how I felt at the Euros the way through, and it's how I felt at the World Cup before that. I agree with you in the sense, you can't discredit a World Cup semi-final and a European final because England don't really do that, right? Every time we get to we can count on one hand how many times we get to semi-finals and stuff like that. So I'm not disregarding that. I just think we're in such a unique situation with England that, I mean, we get to the World Cup. That was our best, in my opinion, and maybe it'll change this time with the draw for this World Cup, but that was the best chance we'll get of winning the World Cup since 66, considering our run to that final. Yeah, we would have had to play, was it France, whatever. Well, I don't know about that one, but the run to that final was unbelievable. Who were we playing? Sweden, Colombia, and Croatia. I get Croatia good, but that's a run you dream of, right? European Championships this past summer or last summer. It was a home championship. So we had to play one game away, but it was a home championships. And our run to the final after beating Germany was a good run to the final in terms of teams you want to go against. Going up against an Italy side as well, that they're struggling to even qualify for the World Cup now, coming out of it. I just look at those as big opportunities, and it's yeah, we should be happy that we got there, but maybe we should have done more, And I do question some of his decisions and all that kind of stuff. And like we were saying, the Maguire or Mings one, I just don't get it. DJ, I just don't get it. What do you think?
Yeah. It's clearly a favourites thing. And you know what? England have a history of that. Back to the days of Carrick being left out of the squad, even down to Scholes, because maybe, Lampard and Gerrard were in with the clique. You know what I mean? Scholes doesn't really seem like a cliquey type of person to me, but that's just me maybe being a conspiracy theorist. But we have seen this pattern before with England where if you ain't one of the lads, if you ain't one of the boys, if you ain't part of the clique, you're not really going to play unless you're doing something amazing for your club team,
Yeah.
Janari says, I hope I pronounced that right because I always pronounce it wrong, says, after all the sense I've heard from Faz today, Southgate is bamboozling him. He is terrible. Favoritism is clear. Decisions in World Cup and Euros contributed to the lack of success. Plus, he has easy runs. What do you think about that, Faz?
I mean, every time I think of England, I think of that pull, that thing he did on Saka. When he pulled his shirt.
Yeah.
On Saka.
Chiellini, yeah.
That's just what plays in my head. But I believe in Southgate because I still think there's something to look forward to. As a team, as a unit, there's something to look forward to. We give teams a run for their money. We have a good bunch of players in there. Some of the picks, yes, it goes over my head. Maybe I need to start looking at Mr. Maguire as a big centre back.
You keep calling him Mr. Maguire. You've got very formal, Faz.
I don't know. I have to start liking him. I have to stay at this point. I have no other option but to start liking him because he's gonna get picked. It just, you know what I mean? He's gonna get picked week in, week out for the national team. Might as well start calling him Mr. Maguire. Might as well start liking him. But
that's when you're really going after someone is when you get really posh with him. You go, sir, okay,
sir. Okay, sir. Mr. Maguire.
I mean, look. If we don't know what Southgate is thinking when he picked Mings and Maguire, we just have to see it out. I have more faith in Gareth than the players. So I'll see what Gareth does with the players. And we playing Cote d'Ivoire, so it's not even like it's gonna be respectfully, it's gonna be a big tough game. So
famous last words. Ronaldo says again, as a legend, Sancho is not it. So Ronaldo's not rating Sancho either. Oof. But anyway, guys, look, we'll wrap it up there. We're in a really weird period of time now because we haven't got a game for ages. There is some Premier League games at the weekend. The weird thing is we were meant to be playing Liverpool at the weekend. Could you imagine if we were meant to be playing them at the weekend after Tuesday's game? Oh, my word. That could have been...
nail in the coffin. That's what it would have been. Nail in the coffin.
That could have been really bad. But we're not. Arsenal, of course, lost last night. So, right, top four's back on, right, Faz?
Top four was long gone. I don't even care about the results now. In all honesty, I don't care if we win or lose the next run of games. I don't. I want my team to actually just, play a bit of football. Play a bit of football. Maybe score some goals for a change. Maybe score some goals from set pieces for a change. Maybe play with a bit more aggression. Maybe try something new on the pitch. I don't know. I don't care about the results. Top 4 was long gone for me. You've seen my fan camps. It was gone time ago. I'm going to go see the under-23s tomorrow. And I'm going to scream as much as I can to support them. And I'm going to scream to get them to come to the first team. I'm going to scream to get them into the first team because that's what I want to see. As a fan, I want to see the under-23s coming to the first team. Give me something to look forward to. But I don't care about the result. I don't care about points anymore. Long gone. And next year as well, to top it up, next year, I don't care about a single trophy. I don't care. Whoever comes in, I don't care about one trophy. Not one trophy. I simply want to see the team play together. I simply want to go to Old Trafford and see some good football. Really, I just want to see some good football. Just want to be entertained.
Yeah. I said a long time ago on here. Top 4 was gone. I don't think we'll get it. Maybe Marcel, if he's watching, he'll beg to differ. But Mr. Positive, but not for me. It's as I said, Owen. I know these players. We know these players. We know them. They haven't got it in them when the going gets tough. And look, we failed again. But even Arsenal losing doesn't really mean much. We'll drop points again because it's what we do. And I think I've kind of emotionally checked out now. I think I've emotionally checked out. I think that Champions League game is the nail in the coffin for me. I'm just looking forward to seeing the developments in terms of what's happening with this new manager, comings and goings in the summer. That's where my mind is literally focused on now, Owen.
Janardi finally says, would Faz take Southgate as Manchester United boss?
I will take a man who has faith because that's what we need. Southgate is a manager who's been able to do some great things with England, given us some great things to look forward to. Whoever comes in, I'll take whoever. But I'll take even Ralph. Let Ralph stay. Whoever. Just get rid of the back staff. Stop all this headache stuff, and just get some stability into the club. Just some stability.
There you go. Stability and faith. That's what we'll finish on tonight, guys. We're out of here. Peace.